Here you have posted your adult care Bill of Rights. Every facility must post the resident adult care Bill of Rights. Yes, your residents have rights. Not only should you post this on your bulletin board, you should give a copy to each resident upon admissions. So again, this is your adult care Bill of Rights. And again, your residents have rights. Hello, YouTube family. Welcome back to the channel. This is Alpha Tier Crawford with Finance Up. You just saw a short clip on the North Carolina Resident Bill of Rights. Yes, your residents have rights. Those rights have to be posted on your facility bulletin board, as well as providing a copy to your residents. So if you did not already know, this is Alpha Tier Crawford with Finance Up. I'm a third generation caregiver. I operate my family owned and operated assisted living and family care home businesses here in the state of North Carolina. And I'm a North Carolina licensed assisted living administrator, as well as a North Carolina licensed preceptor, where I help individuals like you become licensed North Carolina assisted living administrators. Now, again, this video is all about residents' rights. I'm going to share with you some of those rights and some of the penalties if you do not provide those rights to your residents. Again, this is Alpha Tier Crawford. You know how we do here. Let's share the screen and let's go. We are back, YouTube family. Here we have the North Carolina Adult Care Home Bill of Rights. Yes, your resident has rights. Every resident should have the following rights. Following the reading of the rights, we will proceed to talk about some of the penalties that you may receive if you do not provide these rights to your residents. So again, every resident should have the following rights. Number one, to be treated with respect, consideration, dignity, and full recognition of his or her individuality and rights to privacy. Number two, to receive care and services which are adequate, appropriate, and in compliance with relevant federal and state laws and rules and regulations. Number three, to receive upon admission and during his or her stay a written statement of the services provided by the facility and the charges for these services. Number four, to be free of mental and physical abuse, neglect, and exploitation. Number five, except in emergencies, to be free from chemical and physical restraint unless authorized for a specific period of time by a physician according to clear and indicated medical needs. Number six, to have his or her personal and medical records kept confidential and not disclosed without the written consent of the individual or guardian. Number seven, to receive a reasonable response to his or her request from the facility administrator and staff. Number eight, to associate and communicate privately and without restriction with people and groups of his or her own choice on his or her own or their initiative at a reasonable hour. Number nine, to have access at any reasonable hour to a telephone where he or she may speak privately and freely. Number 10, to send and receive mail promptly and unopened unless the resident requests that someone open and read mail, and have access at his or her expense to writing instruments, stationery, and postage. Number 11, to be encouraged to exercise his or her rights as a resident and citizen, and to be permitted to make complaints and suggestions without fear of coercion and retaliation. Number 12, to have and use his or her own possessions where reasonable and have an accessible, lockable space provided for security of personal valuables. This space shall be accessible only to the residence, administrator, and supervisor in charge. Number 13, to manage his or her personal need funds unless such authority has been delegated to another. If authority to manage personal need funds has been delegated to the facility, the resident has the right to examine the account at any time. Number 14, to be notified when the facility is issued a provisional license or notice of revocation of license by the Carolina Department of Human Resources, and the basis on which the provisional license or notice of revocation of license was issued. The resident's responsible family member or guardian shall be also notified. Number 15, to have freedom to participate by choice in accessible community activities and in social, political, medical, and religious resources, and to have freedom to refuse such participation. To receive upon admission to the facility a copy of this section. Number 17, to not be transferred or discharged from the facility except for medical reasons. The resident's own or other residents' welfare, non-payment for the stay, or when their transfer is mandated under the state or federal law. The resident should be given at least 30 days advance notice to ensure orderly transfer or discharge, except in the case of jeopardy to the health or safety of the resident or others in the home. The resident has the right to appeal a facility attempt to transfer or discharge the resident. The resident shall be allowed to remain in the facility until resolution of the appeal. So here, YouTube family, are 17 rights of adult care home residents. Now we are going to talk about some of the penalties that you will receive if you do not provide these rights to your residents. So let's take a look at some of those penalties. We are back, YouTube family. Now, I just shared with you in the prior clip 17 rights of the resident in an adult care home in the state of North Carolina. Now, here you have the list of facilities and penalties. So if you do not enforce or provide your rights to your residents, you will be penalized. And now we're going to go over some of the penalties for individuals who are cited for not giving or providing their residents with their rights. So as you can see, it's listed by county, and it lists the rule areas cited and the penalty amount. So you have in the middle, rules, areas cited, and then you have to the right amount that the facility was penalized. So let's scroll down and just look in this middle column and see how many citations for residents' rights that we can see. So right here off the bat, you have 2 back-to-back residents' rights. And if you look over to the penalty, you have a penalty of $29,000, which was a combination of a medication administration and declaration of residents' rights. And then here you have one again for medical administration and declaration of residents' rights for $1,000. Let me go down to this section right here. I think I pinned. There we go. So we have a facility, and you can see that it was cited for residents' rights, residents' rights, residents' rights. residents' rights. And you can see to the right of that, you have penalties from $5,000 all the way to $20,000. So you can see from this list that if you do not provide your residents with their rights, that your facility will be penalized. You have residents' rights here. You have one for $16,000. Residents' rights here, $7,000. I mean, we can go down and down the list, and you can continue to see residents' rights here, $7,000. And if you look to the far column, you can either see if it was paid in full, was it a settlement? You can see settlements, and then you can see where they were not paid. So again, if you're not providing your residents with their rights, your facility can be penalized. Not only can it be penalized, it can be closed. So we're going to look at this Taylor Family Care Home. And we have resident right issues, resident right issues, resident right issues. And if you look here to the left column, you can see that the facility has been closed. As you always can see that they did not pay the penalty, and they had penalties ranging from $5,000 to $7,000 to $5,000. So again, this was just a look at what can happen if you do not provide your residents with their rights. So I hope this was definitely an eye-opener and you learned something from this video reference to what the residents' rights include and some of the penalties if you do not provide those rights. There you have it, YouTube family. This has been a video on residents' rights. Yes, your residents have rights. I've given you 17 of those rights, and I've given you some of the penalties if you do not provide those rights to your residents. That can lead to a penalty or your facility getting closed. So I hope this information was valuable, informative, and I hope you learned something today. Again, if you're going to operate an adult care home, you must enforce and provide your residents with their rights. So again, this is Alpha Crawford with Finance Up. Again, thanks for the continued support. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. As always, until the next video, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Goodbye. This video is sponsored by ALFassist.com for expert consulting for your assisted living. Get the guidance and support your facility needs for quality care. Again, this video is sponsored by my company, ALFassist.com.